Are you considering getting a divorce, but you have no idea how you're going to pay your attorney's fees? Check out this short video to figure out how you're going to get those attorney's fees paid. Hey everybody, Barry here with the Lawful Channel. If you want to see bi-weekly videos on the legal topics that affect our lives, please subscribe to our channel. And if you have any questions or comments, please reach out to me. If I can't help you, I'll find someone who can. I'm in Chicago again today with family law attorney Mark Schondorf. Mark, thanks for getting together again. We're talking about attorney's fees today. Mark, why is the issue of attorney's fees in a divorce case so important?
Well, it's important because attorneys need to get paid, obviously. Divorce is an interesting area of law in that we don't take cases on contingency. That's not allowed. So we can't get paid based on what we get for you. And they're generally not flat fee. It's one of the only situations where individuals have to pay hourly attorney rates.
So divorce cases can often be expensive, and I'm sure you've seen some situations where the dollar amounts get up there. Can you tell us about a funny situation or something?
Well, I have seen many situations where if the parties have enough, they'll spend well over $1 million on attorney's fees alone. And I do remember one case. I was working at a big firm, and one client was fighting with his spouse for over 10 years, and they were still not divorced.
Okay, so 10 years and $1 million. Not the typical divorce case, I'm sure.
Not typical at all, but sometimes some people would rather give it to their lawyers than to give it to their spouse.
Yeah, that's right, or their kids. Okay, so what is a more average, or what's a more typical case look like?
I mean, it certainly can depend on how much you want to fight. I've done divorces for a couple $1,000s if everybody has an agreement and they're ready to go and there's not going to be any fighting. But if people start fighting over even the smaller stuff, you're looking to pay what you'd probably pay for a car.
So in generally, who is responsible for paying attorney's fees?
So in Illinois, the general rule is that each party has to pay their own attorney's fees. And so they pay that out of their own income or marital assets. Maybe they might put it on a credit card or go into debt, but that debt would eventually be assigned to them. So the rule is they're going to end up paying.
Okay, well, what happens if a party doesn't have any assets or doesn't have any income or doesn't have a job? How do they pay for their attorney's fees?
So a party in Illinois can ask the court in the middle of a case, while the case is pending, either at the beginning, middle, and at any point really, to ask the other side to front them money so that they can pay their attorney. And the reason we do this is there's a policy that we want to level the playing field. We don't want to have one party who controls all the money and gets to hire the biggest, fanciest lawyer they can, and the other party doesn't have a lawyer at all. We're talking about marital assets, so it all belongs to them anyway. So in that situation, the party would be able to get money so that they can continue the case. Okay,
so you can get your significant other or your spouse to front those attorney's fees, but will the other party have to pay those attorney's fees back?
Possibly. So you're basically getting an advance against the marital assets that you're going to receive. So it would come off of what you're eventually going to get later. However, you can also file a motion and ask the court to have the other side pay your attorney's fees just because maybe they're making more money or they have more money or they have more non-marital property. And you say, hey, it's not really fair. I need some financial help over here. And at that point, the court might say, either you don't have to pay the money back or that one spouse has to pay even more for the other spouse's attorney's fees.
So again, we're talking about what's happening in the state of Illinois because again, family law, divorce, and the like is very state specific. Do you have a sense for what's happening in other states, or what should people do if they're not in Illinois?
I mean, if you're not in Illinois, please consult a local attorney, consult a local law. I would imagine that other states have similar policies, but policies do differ from state to state.
So far we've been talking about attorney's fees in a divorce situation, but are there other situations within family law that you might be able to recover attorney's fees?
Yes. So attorney's fees come into play when somebody violates a court order. What happens when you end a divorce case, even if you end it by agreement, your agreement becomes a court order. And so if somebody doesn't pay child support, or they don't have the life insurance they're supposed to have, or they're not paying for soccer expenses, things like that, the other side can petition the court and say, look, we need to find out why he or she didn't pay this money. And one of the possible end results of that is that the offending party might have to pay the attorney's fees of the party that had to bring that petition.
So I know this is a little taboo for divorce attorneys to talk about. We're in the business of law. but is there a way for people to save money when they're getting divorced?
Barry, that's a good question. I often wish the world would put me out of business. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. The biggest advice I can give to somebody is to really be reasonable. The quicker you can come to an agreement, the less expensive your divorce is going to be. And the more you're holding on to emotional or irrational or illogical positions, the more it's going to cost you in the end. Sometimes I find that clients sometimes be a little bit too confident in their positions. They think they're going to win everything. But at the end of the day, you're putting your fate and your life in the hands of a judge, and they might make a decision you're not happy with, and you might regret sticking out for the long haul and fighting.
Okay, Mark, thanks a lot for talking about kind of a touchy subject within divorce. Now it's time for your take on the law. Were you involved in a divorce, and did you spend a lot of money on attorney's fees? Don't tell us too much, but tell us a little bit about it in the comments below. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out this short legal video on attorney's fees in divorce cases. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel by clicking that little red button. And if you have any questions or comments about any legal topic, please feel free to reach out to me. If I can't help you, I'll find someone who can.